everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back, and if you are new, thanks for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. I feel like it's been a while since I put out a video, but it's actually only been a few days. My last video was celebrating Anne Shirley's birthday, and to celebrate that I showed my collection of Anne of Green Gables books. And today, since it's Tag Tuesday, I thought that I would continue the birthday celebrations, and that is because I will be celebrating a birthday sometime this week myself, and I am going to do the birth year tag, and I'm not as old as Anne Shirley. So this tag was created by Olly from Criminolly, and I was tagged by MJ at Reading This Life and AJ from AJ Dunn Reads and Writes. I really enjoy all three of these channels. Olly reads like different books than I do, so I am always learning about the interesting things that he's reading. And we will also be doing a buddy read together, so I'm looking forward to that. And we're kind of doing that at the end of March, so stay tuned. MJ has a great channel. She has a series where she shouts out smaller booktubers, especially those who are just starting out. So I have been relying on her a bit to learn, about some of the new channels and new booktubers, and I have found some real gems because of MJ. And then AJ is one of my best booktube buddies. They have a great channel, and AJ runs the Killer Reads book club, and they also do a series called Books and Bites, where they cook a vegan recipe and then share it. Well, they share the recipe. Unfortunately, they don't share the food. I will leave links to all of their channels below in the description box. All of them are worth following, so definitely check those channels out if you haven't already done so. So let's get started. The first question is, have you read any books published in the year that you were born? And then they kind of have some follow-ups. So if so, what's your favorite and why? And do you have any other favorites? And if you haven't, which I have, so but if you haven't read any, then you're supposed to commit to reading or pledge to read one. So yes, I have read books from the year I was born. I was born in 1978, and the most recent book I read from 1978 was actually this one, The Sea by Iris Murdoch. And I read this with the 1001 book club that Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot is hosting. I just finished The Sea at the end of February, and I talk about it in my wrap-up. I have also read The Stand by Stephen King. I read that a couple of years ago now. And The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck I read a long time ago. I went through, a M. Scott Peck phase and read many of his works. My favorite of these, I guess, would be The Stand, but I did get my BA in philosophy, and I'm sure that reading Peck, before I even started university, kind of helped with that interest. So on my radar to still read for the books published in 1978 is The World According to Garp by John Irving, Women by Charles Bukowski, and Evergreen by Belva Plain. So those three are hopefully up next soon. The next question is, have you read any books published the year you turned 18? And if so, which is your favorite and why? So I turned 18 in 1996, and I've read many books from this year. Deep End of the Ocean was an important book. It's by Jacqueline Mitchell, and it was the first Oprah's book club selection, and it kind of lit the world on fire because Oprah said, go read this book. And other books that I've read from that year are The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks, which, is a beautiful love story. I read Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding. And this is one of those, for me, it's one of those rare instances where I enjoyed the movie so much more than the book. The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, this is by Rebecca Wells. I absolutely loved this book. It's such a great story about women. Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mays. This is another one that the movie was way better than the book. So The Green Mile by Stephen King. I mean, I loved both the book and the movie. Fantastic. And it's one where like the movie stays very true to the story. I read Drums of Autumn, which is the 4th Outlander book by Diana Gabaldon. And the funny thing, I don't know if it's funny, but the funny thing about this book is that I picked it up in a Chapters, which is now Indigo, but this was back when it was still called Chapters. And for my American friends, Chapters would be like a Barnes and Noble. And I picked up the book because I really liked the cover, which I don't normally pick up a book just because of that. But I got home and thought, you know, I'll see what this is all about. And I devoured that book in 2 days. And then I found out that it was part of the series and had to go back and read books 1 to 3. So the one that I am going to choose as my favorite is Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. Both because it's a good book. It's well written. The story is good. But it also because when I turned 18, the book had just come out, and I read it while I spent 6 weeks hiking in Alaska on my own. So it had a big impact on me. Okay, question number 3. Of the last 10 books you've read, how many were published before you were born? So that would be 1, and it's The Sea by Iris Murdoch. But I am currently reading Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, which was published in 1861, so well before my time. And I'm reading that with a group hosted by Art from Bookshelf Odyssey. And I am also reading War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, which was published in 1865. So another one that was well before my time. And I am reading that with 1001 Book Club that Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot is hosting. And I'm also kind of following along, or I will be following along with Hannah from Hannah's Books. There's a couple of schedules with, you know, different groups right now with this book, so I may dabble a bit in all of them. Question number 4 is, what's your favorite movie from your birth year? Hands down, it's Grease. I know every word, every lyric. I've seen the plays. I've read the book. There is a book. This movie is ingrained on my soul. And then Grease 2, which is always sadly forgotten. But I used to watch these movies so many times, like several times a day if I could get away with it. Olivia Newton-John was one of my favorites. And who doesn't like John Travolta? You know, like before he became all plasticky. And then Superman also came out in 1978, and I did love watching those movies at the time. Yeah, but nothing compares to my love for Grease. So, and I actually just quoted the movie the other day. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I was trying to express how low something was to my mother. I was explaining this, and I said, they are fleas on rats. And then I said, they are amoebas on fleas on rats. And my mother looked at me like I had 3 heads, and I said, Frenchie. It's a quote from Frenchie from Grease. And yeah. Okay, moving on. Number 5. What's your favorite movie from the year you turned 18? There were some good movies from 1996. Tin Cup, that was fun. Birdcage, Jerry Maguire. The Mirror Has Two Faces, that was a good one. I liked all of those. Twister, The English Patient, I also like those. But I think my favorite would be A Time to Kill, which is based on John Grisham's novel. That movie blew me away and has always stayed with me. It's such an incredible story. And then the last prompt is to tag some people, 1 for each decade that you've lived. So I have more than completed 4 decades. So I am going to tag 4 booktubers. I'm going to start with Mrs. Thomas from Book Talks with Mrs. Thomas. Jennifer from Poetry Crone, who is newer and has done the 3 Musketeers tag and did all the prompts with poetry, which I thought was so great. So I don't know, maybe this one could be answered with poetry as well. I think so, probably. Alicia from Alicia Reads and Rambles, and then maybe Sina from Beating Around the Books. I don't think I've tagged Sina in a while, so obviously there's no pressure, but if you haven't done this tag yet, I'd love to hear your answers. So that's the birth year book tag. Thanks again to Olly for creating this great tag, and to AJ and MJ for tagging me. I do have a few ideas for videos coming up later in the week. Since I will be 44 in 22, I thought that I would share 22 5-star reads in fiction and 22 5-star reads in nonfiction that have had some kind of impact on my life. So stay tuned for those. Hopefully I can get that together. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.